Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Today, I am with Jennifer Stapleton. She's the founding partner of Fire Bliss, a communications and marketing firm serving philanthropies and nonprofits. She's a promoter, advocate, communications strategist, business owner, and artist. This mix of left brain and right brain thinking helps her craft simultaneously creative and strategic marketing and communications plans. She's helped advocacy organizations achieve major legislation and policy changes at the national, state, and local levels. She's helped nonprofits achieve their mission, landed hundreds of stories in major U.S. publications, and has helped mission-driven business owners win new clients and contracts. Welcome, Jennifer. It's great to have you back.
Thanks, Chuck. It's good to be with you again.
For our listeners, if you haven't listened to Jennifer's first podcast with us on the concept of serve, don't sell, take a listen. It's worth it. It's a powerful concept that we played with last time. And this time we're going to talk about what it means to work from a plan, and maybe even a bad plan, and then why we stop and how we stop. And so let's just talk about what it means to work from a bad plan or from a plan. Give me your thoughts on that.
Sure. So as you know, I recently completed the FasTrak business development program that you all run. And one of the concepts that I found most helpful out of that was the idea of creating what you called a bad plan for success. Mm-hmm. And I always put this for success in there because I want to be really clear about my intention. Yes. It's for success. But I know from personal experience, just the paralysis by analysis that can happen when we try to think of the perfect plan before we begin.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to think about it. We're going to think about it. We're going to think about it. And we're going to come up with every contingency. And is this realistic? And your assertion was start a plan, write it on paper. Don't worry about whether it is a bad plan, as long as it is a bad plan for success.
Yeah.
And then, how do you say, enact it violently? I think
yes. A bad plan, the phrase we use is a bad plan carried out violently sometimes yields good results. And the word, the Latin for is violentus, and it's a combination of two words. It's to act with strength, to move forward. So it's not about beating somebody up, but violently in the sense of, hey, I'm totally committed to this thing. Get out of my way. I got somewhere I need to be.
Mm-hmm. And so we, from your program, we developed a plan. It's a really simple plan in a lot of ways. 10 outreaches I'm doing a week to people that might want to do business with us or might know people who want to do business with us, with the intention of getting 4 people to talk with us, and then only 1 person a month to come and work with us. Our business model doesn't require us to have hundreds of clients. It works better when we have fewer clients that we're serving at a very high level. So that's the plan, right?
Yeah, so let me interrupt you for a second, if I can, and just alliterate this for people. When we talk about these 3 steps you had, we call them the 3 C's. The first C is connections. So you want 10 connections a week. I just want to talk to 10 people and say, hey, would you like to talk? That's a connection. Mm-hmm. And out of that, you're looking for, you're intending, not hoping. We talk about you get what you intend, not what you hope for. You're intending that 3 of those 10 will have a conversation, a buying conversation. Hey, this is what we do. How can we help you? Is there a possibility? And out of that, you'd like 1 new client a month. So you have connections, conversations, and new clients or new customers, 10, 3, and basically a quarter per week. Right. 10 and 3 a week, adding up to 1 a month. Those are your 3 C's.
Right. And then, we supplement that by doing some marketing with email marketing and social media marketing. But
Which
really,
helps you get to your it helps you get your 10 connections doing that kind of stuff.
exactly, because a lot of people will just contact me. They'll see the content that we put on LinkedIn and say, yeah, that's what I need. Can you please talk with me? And so one of the things, and so since I've done this and began implementing this plan, I have a full calendar. I have meetings scheduled out months from now. I have a meeting scheduled in April. And so,
and just for context, when we're doing this, it's February 4th. So you have stuff in April because you've got this little plan.
Right. And so sometimes I find myself saying, seems like this is working. I'm going to pay attention to something over here instead of continuing to do the thing that I know is working. It's like one of the things you said is don't get so comfortable with your plan that you stop doing it.
Yeah, I learned this from somebody else at one point. He actually said it to me because I'd stopped doing something that was fairly successful, and he asked me why. And I gave him all kinds of excuses and reasons and jawbone for 30 seconds. And he said, so what you're telling me is it worked so well, you stopped doing it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And so I built in 2 accountability mechanisms to help me make sure I don't do that. Yes. Because I'm the boss and I could say, not doing that today. But one of them, and you may have seen this one before, it's an old habit creator. But basically, I have this large carafe for people that are just listening. It is a large carafe, clear, and I have 10 very large paper clips. And
those are like 4 inches long, large paper.
Yeah, they're huge. I got them for Christmas. I was like, what am I going to do with these? And so after each connection, I drop a paper clip. Every Monday morning, I pour all the paper clips on my desk. And by Friday, all 10 of them need to be in the jar because after every connection, I drop one in the jar. So it's just a very visual reminder for me of like, this is your plan for success. You're working it. It's working. So don't stop.
Man, that's so powerful. And this is free, no extra charge. But I've done some study on this kind of stuff. And the question I was asking myself is, how do we change habits and how do we keep them? And one of the answers is ritual. Have a ritual that replaces the old ritual that wasn't helpful. Have a new ritual that will get you out of bed and go running or eat differently. And so you have a ritual around this. You put these paper clips here and you drop them. Simple little things like that are so powerful because there's kind of an external boss, if you will. It's a guide that says, here's how I'm doing. Here's a measure of where I'm at. It's beautiful, simple.
I added one more accountability piece to this that has the potential to be a little bit more painful because that's the positive affirmation is I love to hear the clink in the jar. And then the potentially more negative outcome is that a very wise person once told me that the meetings you make with yourself are your most important meetings for business success. And I had a habit of breaking meetings with myself consistently.
Sure.
Because
easy to do.
Life came and things happened. And so I enlisted a friend who is helping me with accountability. I email her every Monday morning and I tell her, these are my meetings for this week that I, with myself or for self-care or for business development, like making sure I'd make time to make these 10 connections. These are my meetings with myself. I tell her about them on Monday morning. And then by Friday afternoon, I have to report to her what I did or didn't do. And anything I skipped, I have to pay her. We signed a contract and I must pay her for the meetings that I skipped.
Right.
Not a huge amount, but enough for me to be like, no, I'm going to do that because I don't want to pay that money.
Well, and it's a gamification. Even if it wasn't a lot of money, it's like, I'm keeping score here and I know what the score is. I don't want to lose.
Oh yeah. I mean, even if there was no money involved, I don't want to look bad and say I skipped my stuff. And that would probably be enough because she really didn't want the money. She's like, I want money. And I was like, give it to whoever you want to give it to, whatever, she works for the American Cancer Society. I'm like, give it to the American Cancer Society. I don't care, but like,
Yeah.
I need that to keep me accountable. So will you please take it? And we've been doing that for a few weeks. I haven't had to pay yet, but it does help me manage my time differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Both of those are really great ways to help us form the new habit and keep the new habit. One is to ask myself, what will happen? What good thing will happen if I do this? And then how can I positively reinforce myself to that? And then another great question to ask myself is, what will I miss if I don't do this? What will happen if I don't do this?
I'm going to ask you for a little bit of on-air coaching here right now, because I think it could help
Sure.
feed people. So, the one piece of this, you gave us a very clear spreadsheet where you enter connections, conversations, new people, new partners that you're going to work with on this sheet. And that sort of administrative task makes me cuckoo. I have people that do administrative work in our business because they're great at it. And that's not a Jennifer skill.
Yep.
So I've got 3 weeks of tracking to track. And I also want to put the names of people and the contacts in a spreadsheet so that if there's a follow-up, I'm remembering it. How would you say do it?
Yeah. So you answered it as you were talking. You answered what my answer would be. Is there somebody in your business who actually enjoys doing these kinds of things? And can they chase you for this information? So that you don't, because even typing this information in and giving it to them can make you cuckoo if you don't like that kind of stuff. There's an adage we use. We talk about the difference between managers and leaders and how nobody should be managed. Everybody should be led. And the difference is, one of the differences between managers and leaders is that managers go chase things. They chase information with their clipboards and they put together complex reports and then they give them to a leader. Leaders don't chase information. Information comes and finds the leader. So I would ask you to think like a leader here and say, how can I get that person to come chase me and have the information that they put together come find me on a weekly or monthly report or something I can look up online anytime I want? Get them to do what is in the highest and best use of their strengths and figure out a methodology for them chasing you. Like, take a picture of your carafe with the 10 giant paper clips in it and just text it to them, or have them call you once a week and say, okay, what's your 10 and 3? Where are you?
Yeah, you gave me the right answer, Chuck, because then we do have this person who already spends a lot of time in these spreadsheets for others.
They'll actually enjoy it. It'll work for them.
She's great at it, right? Yeah. Like, she's built for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record all this in a voice memo, because we often work asynchronously, different hours. Yeah. And so I'm just going to record in a voice memo. Yep. This is who I talked to. This is what we did. This is a follow-up, et cetera. This is what I promised them or who I promised to connect them with, and have her put that into our sheets so that it's there when I go back and see what I need to follow up on.
That's beautiful. I want to stop on this for a moment, because at the beginning we talked about a bad plan, and everybody probably looked at their phones or whatever they're listening. I was like, no, I don't want a bad plan. No, you actually do want a bad plan, because there is no such thing as a good plan to begin with. There just isn't. All the research shows that no matter how much you plan, the world is going to interact with your plan and going to mess it up. As I think Mike Tyson said, every boxer has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. But I want to highlight that, see, if we get moving on what is a base plan that we know is not perfect, let's go ahead and just call it a bad plan. Let's get over it. The question isn't really, is it a bad plan? The question first and foremost is it better than the plan I didn't have 5 minutes ago? And is it always getting better? It's still a bad plan, but your plan just got better. You got moving. You said you got 3 weeks worth of data. You've been running this bad plan, and now you're going to get somebody else to run a big chunk of it. Your plan is getting better because you got moving on it. And now you've identified some obstacles that you would have never identified if you hadn't moved on it, because it would have never bothered you because you didn't have to type this stuff in. But now that you're typing it in, it bothers you and your plan's getting better. So that's what we mean about just get moving. And as you move, the plan will get better. We say this all the time. Planning doesn't create movement. Movement creates the plan, the good.
Right.
So I just love that you shared that with us. It's a great example.
And the other word that you've given me that we'll have to explain to people who don't know it, but it is the word conation.
Yeah.
Conation is your favorite word, and I'll say it the way I understand it, and you can correct me if I'm getting it wrong. But conation is you want something, and you want it so bad that you're already doing it, right? You're already moving towards that goal because you want it. You want it.
Yeah.
And I, again, believe that the universe is our partner in providing us what we're looking for. And to me, every time I take a step towards my vision of a mature business, whether it's a good plan or a bad plan, it's a signal to the universe, oh, I'm really in it. I'm really doing it. And so that leads me to conate before I'm perfectly sure it's going to work.
Yeah, it's a beautiful word that I found in a book called Self-Made in America. It's out of print, but you can probably still find a raggedy copy of it on Amazon. And it's a wonderful little book about a guy who built hair salons in the 1970s. It's the only motivational book I share because it's not by a motivational guru. This is a guy who struggled. And his fancy definition for conation is the will to succeed that manifests itself in single-minded pursuit of a goal. And my slang definition is exactly what you said. I want something so bad, I'm already doing it. That's why New Year's resolutions are not a good idea. If you figure out December 3rd, you should stop smoking, do not smoke like a chimney until January 1 and expect it to work. If you know on December 3rd, you should stop smoking, stop smoking. And conation is, that's part of it, but then part of conation is also continuing and, you know, and not giving up. So it's getting started with a bad plan and then just hanging on and just gripping it and not letting go. There's so much in that word that is so helpful for us. I call it the single most important business word you've never heard. And it went out of fashion in the 1900s, and we don't have time to get into it. But basically it went out of fashion because the cognitives took over from the conatives. The cognitive people say if your brain knows what to do, then your body will eventually get in line with it. And there's not a shred of evidence that that works. It's the opposite. Your brain and your body have to work together. Conation is intuition in action. It's the mind, the emotions, and the body all working together to make something happen. So I love that you brought that word up in this context of creating a bad plan, because that's basically it. Get moving on the bad plan. I want it so bad, I'm already doing whatever I know to do. That's the key. So you can't sit around and say, well, I'm conating because I'm thinking about doing it.
Right.
What is one thing you know to do? Get moving on that. And that one thing will lead you either to the next thing you should be doing, or you'll run into a brick wall softly and know you need to turn left. And either one of those made your plan better.
Right.
So get
and until you have that data, until you run that, I mean, we do this in marketing all the time, right? I have a great idea. And the client's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, let's beta test it. Before we go, before you spend millions of dollars on this plan, let's make sure that ad we helped you create works. And it's the same idea. How in the world would you get the data about whether this is a good plan or a bad plan unless you run the plan for a while and measure it?
Yeah, and I think what you're alliterating there is, for some of our listeners might say, well, I don't want to go with a bad plan because I might do something horrible. Well, don't go 40 knots toward the mouth of the bay and hope that you can find sandbars. You will find one, the one you shipwreck on. If you know there's sandbars, then slow down, but do the plan. Keep doing something and take soundings. That's what your beta plan is. It's a soundings plan. So we still get moving with less than everything. And as we move, we get more of the plan. So So yeah, I love that you've alliterated the 3 C's and the idea that sometimes it works so well we stop doing it. And I love the 2 simple little illustrations you gave of how you are making sure that you don't stop something that is working for you. We need to we need to gamify life and business for ourselves. And you've done that just so well. So I think our listeners can take that away and figure out what are the 1 or 2 things they can do to make sure they make 10 connections each week. They get 3 conversations, they get 1 client a week or every other week or a month or whatever their pace is. Appreciate you bringing that on for us. I'll do a shameless plug for my new book, Sell Less, Earn More, where this idea is in the book. And it's also part of the FasTrak training course that you mentioned. But I'd love to give people an opportunity to get a hold of you and figure out how can they work with Jennifer.
Sure. There are 2 ways that are great to get in touch with us. One is if you're ready to talk and you want to talk to somebody soon, go to fireandbliss.com and there's a contact us button. Contact us and a real person will get back to you in a timely manner. But if you're just like, I want to check Jennifer out more, I want to see more about how she's thinking, how she works, I would invite you to follow me on LinkedIn. We're putting content out at least a couple of times a week, good, free guidance on communications and marketing strategies. So I'm just Jennifer Stapleton at LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Jennifer, this has been a joy. I love your abundant view of business and the world, and so excited for you to keep connecting with your bad plan and just keep making it better by doing it. Thanks for being on our podcast. Look forward to having you back.
Excellent. Thanks, Chuck. It was fun.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.